Here's a thought that might surprise you. What if, in a real crisis, the rarest and most exotic remedies aren't the ones that vanish first? What if the real danger is for the plants you know best, the ones you might literally have in your kitchen or on your windowsill right now? Today, we're diving into the medicinal plant paradox, a really counterintuitive idea that catches almost everyone off guard. This quote, it just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's not just a saying, it's a fundamental rule. In the world of being prepared, timing is everything. And as we're about to see, waiting until you're already in the thick of it, well, that's way too late. So what's the big myth we all kind of fall for? It's this idea that when things get tough, we can just head outside and find what we need. The reality, though, is so much harsher. The most well-known, most trusted plants, they're the first to go. They get hit by this silent, massive rush that can strip store shelves and even landscapes completely bare. To really get a grip on this, let's look at some real-world examples. We're going to walk through 7 plants you've definitely heard of, and they perfectly show why this paradox is so important to understand.
First up, a plant you can find in countless homes all over the world, aloe vera. You know, it's our go-to for soothing a nasty sunburn or a small cut. It's simple, it's effective, and pretty much everyone trusts it. But that universal trust, well, that's exactly what becomes its biggest weakness when things go wrong.
Look, the logic here is simple and kind of brutal. A crisis situation often means more injuries, more burns, scrapes, you name it. And what's the first thing people think of? Aloe. But here's the catch. Most people don't actually grow their own aloe. They just assume they can buy it. So when the supply chain gets shaky and the shelves empty out, that trusted remedy is just gone. Okay, next let's talk about a kitchen staple that packs a serious punch, garlic. Yeah, it makes food taste great, but it's also one of nature's most powerful antimicrobials. For centuries, it's been the go-to for helping fight off infections. So, what do you think happens when people get worried about getting sick? The demand for garlic just explodes. It immediately becomes a prime target for massive stockpiling. Suddenly, that simple kitchen staple is incredibly difficult to find. Our third case study is echinacea. If you've ever walked through a pharmacy during flu season, you've seen this one everywhere. It is the name in immune support. And this one is a perfect example of a supply chain problem. During stressful times, everybody wants that immune boost. But here's the thing about echinacea. It has to be farmed or harvested from the wild. When demand suddenly spikes, the system just can't keep up. There's no magic button to make more of it instantly. Now for golden seal. This one's in a really tricky spot because honestly, it's already facing scarcity issues before a crisis even hits. The big problem with golden seal is time. It grows incredibly slowly, and most of it is harvested from the wild. It's already considered an at-risk plant. So you can imagine what happens when a crisis sends demand through the roof, that limited supply gets wiped out almost overnight. Next on our list is ginseng. It's famous for being an adaptogen, which is just a fancy way of saying it helps your body handle stress and stay resilient. In a crisis, what's one of the first things to absolutely skyrocket? Stress levels. And right along with it, demand for ginseng spikes. But here's the real kicker. Ginseng takes years to mature. We're not talking about a few months. So once the current supply is bought up, it's not coming back for a very, very long time. All right, let's talk about turmeric. This stuff is probably one of the most popular anti-inflammatory herbs on the entire planet right now. You know, with turmeric, the problem isn't so much time, it's distance. For most of us, this isn't something we can just go find growing down the street. It depends completely on a very long and very fragile global supply chain. And if there's even one break in that chain, our access to it could disappear in a heartbeat. And for our last plant, let's look at one that seems deceptively common, chamomile. I mean, we see it in tea bags in every grocery store, right? How could that possibly vanish? Well, it's simple. During times of really high stress and anxiety, what do people want? Help with calming down and getting some sleep. Demand for chamomile skyrockets. And even though it seems common, the supply can't just magically increase. It still needs time to be grown and harvested, and it just can't keep pace when everyone panics and tries to buy it all at once. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. We've seen the pattern. The remedies you know best are often the most vulnerable. But just knowing that isn't enough. Now let's talk about the most important part, the proactive path. What can you actually do to prepare for this? This is the question that really matters. It's how we move from just being aware to actually taking action. And it's not about being fearful, it's about being smart and prepared. The good news is the solution is actually pretty straightforward.
It really boils down to 3 simple, powerful actions. First, grow what you can. This is so important. It breaks your dependency on those fragile supply chains. Even just one aloe plant on your windowsill is a huge step. Second, learn a few plants deeply. Instead of knowing a tiny bit about 50 plants, become a real expert on just a handful. Deep, practical knowledge is so much more valuable. And finally, the most crucial step of all, prepare early. This whole paradox is about timing. You want to act before the rush, to have what you need when no one else is even thinking about it.
And this really is the bottom line. It's not about what exists somewhere out there in the world. It's about what is actually available to you, right here, right now. So I'll just leave you with this question. What's one small step you can take, maybe even this week, to make sure the remedies you count on are truly within your reach when it matters most?